Yo, what's up, man? It's your boy Jay, aka The Strategy, aka Mom. There goes that man again, aka I'm so disrespectful, aka the man by many names. You're tuning in to another Walking Dead review show. How you guys doing? Shout out to everybody who left comments on my last video, man. Greatly respect that. And I'm gonna answer some of y'all questions of what I think. But y'all didn't come here to hear that. Y'all came here to hear the Walking Dead review. Anywho, enough of that. Let's get into the review. This episode was great. It pulled on all your heartstrings, and everything that you can possibly think of happened in this episode. We saw Daryl get gangster on a black guy. I don't remember his name. One of these days I'm gonna remember it, and I don't remember it because I'm so used to characters like him dying off within the first fucking episode. So I guess he's going to stay around for some time. So I guess I'll remember it by the next review. So it starts off with Rick and Carol going out to try to find some type of medicine, some type of something that can help Herschel, get the people who are sick to feel better. And so they're going around and they are basically going to this like little subdivision, and they're just trying to find anything, whether it be painkillers, cough drops, anything to just help Herschel keep them holding on until they come back with the medicine to basically, cure everybody at the prison. So they go into this house. We see her and Rick talking back and forth, and they go into this house, and they go into this house and they find the two kids. And on finding the two kids, they find out that they were living at like a greenhouse or some shit like that, and they were staying at this camp, and they met, and they seemed like these two kids were like in love. And from the looks of it, it seemed as though Rick didn't want to take them back, but he kind of gave them a chance to. Rick and Carol continues to search for medicine and stuff, and I'm thinking in the back of my mind, when is Rick gonna bring up that Carol murdered two people? And like I said, we didn't know if she actually murdered them or if they were dead when she killed them and they were walkers. That question was answered this episode. So they're going through this house, and she just basically comes out and says, like, Rick, you haven't said anything. I murdered two people, which lets me know they weren't turned. She murdered them before they actually died. So that's fucked up. And he was like, what do you want me to say? She was like, say something to acknowledge it. She like, I'm not okay with it, but she like, I did what had to be done. And Rick was like, you don't know if they were gonna turn. You don't know if they were gonna die. You prejudged the situation before you knew anything. You can't play God. And he basically laid it out that, hey, when the others find out what you did, they're not going to want you there. He was like, when Tyrese finds out what you did, he's going to kill you. He almost killed me. You got to lead a group. And I was like, what? Did Rick kick Carol out of the group? But he kicked her out of the group. He's like, listen, you can't come back with me. He was like, she was like, what about my girls? He was like, you want them to go out on a road with you? He's like, the 10, one's sick and the other's 10 years old. They was like, no, you gotta, no. And she was like, you know what, you're right. She was like, here. She gave him the watch and they drove off. That surprised me. The two kids, one of the girls is dead. She got eaten alive by walkers. So, but Rick kind of blamed that on her because he was like, well, they didn't have to go and help us. Rick wanted them to stay in that house and they would double back around and get them. You can tell that they weren't experienced with killing walkers the way they were, because the first thing Rick said is, you guys had a gun. And they were like, well, it generally, when they first found the kids, Rick was like, well, they were trapped in a bathroom, and Rick was like, well, you guys had a gun. They was like, well, we only got 12 bullets and it usually takes us about 5 to take one down. Lets me know that they really are not experienced in the real world. And then it was like, well, you got knives, and it was like, stab them in the head. It was like, which really lets me know that they have no experience in combating with walkers, even with guns. So damn sure they're not doing it with knives. So I was like, wow, hey, they shouldn't go out there, but she wanted them to go out there, and Rick agreed with it, and both of them probably end up getting killed, which was kind of fucked up, because they seemed like they were really like sweet kids. When they first saw Rick, one of the walkers fell down the steps, and you know, they both came out the bathroom, and it was like we have fruit, and I was like, oh my goodness, they're gonna die within before this episode is over. We know one of them died, the female, but we don't know about the male. Anywho, one of the big surprises is Rick made care of the group, and I was like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. And as he's driving back to the prison, he's steady looking in his mirror, and I think he's looking to make sure she's not following. He made her ass lead the group, and I was like, wow, that was crazy. So, fast forward, Michonne and Daryl and Tyrese and the black guy are still on the run to get the medicine. They basically found a car. So, you know, Daryl, he fixed the car, and they make it to the actual place where Herschel wanted them to go to actually get the medicine. So they make it there, and they make it there, and they get through, and before they make it there, Tyrese and Michonne kind of had a conversation where Michonne was like, you know, they had a scrap with some walkers, and Michonne was like, you should have let the walker go, you should have let it go. And he was like, well, you some type of fucking expert? And I was like, oh no, don't be talking to my baby like that, Tyrese. I will fuck you up. Michonne was like, no, I'm not an expert, I just don't want to see you die. And he was like, well, why are you still hunting the governor? And she was like, because if he was here right now, I would slice him in two, and it would make it right. And she was like, you know, I don't know why. She doesn't know why. She was like, I'm not angry anymore. At first I was, but I don't know why I'm still hunting the governor. So it was good to actually see her admit that, you know, hey, I don't know why I'm still doing it. Somebody kept on leaving a comment. I forget the kid's name who was leaving a comment on the other videos. When do I think the governor's going to come in? I think the governor is going to come in right about now. I say mid-season break or something like that. Now that Michonne's not looking for him, it's around the time he's going to come in. I don't know if they're going to do it before the season break or they're going to do it close to the end of the actual total season. But he's going to come in sometime, either around the 12th episode or close to the end, the season finale. So they go to the actual place where Herschel wanted them to go to get the medicine. They get the medicine. The black guy steals some liquor, and beforehand he actually told Daryl the only reason why he went on the run with them is because he wanted to get some alcohol. That was his whole purpose, to go get some alcohol. He chose against it, and that's what got the kid killed. Now we started to see Daryl kind of show some emotion, because you can see that he kind of really liked that kid, and he was like, well, you're not standing anymore. Daryl kind of accepts, like, okay, no one could have fucking, you know, it's not your fault. And then they go back to the place that Herschel wanted them to go get the medicine, and this guy sees some alcohol on the floor, and he takes the alcohol. So they get the medicine and everything. They're coming out of I guess this school, and as they're coming out of school, they gotta jump onto like the other side of the roof. So they jump onto the other side of the roof, and the black guy is actually the last one to go. But as he jumps on, his bag that he has the alcohol flies over like to the walkers, and they're trying to grab it, and they're like telling him like, let it the fuck go. He wouldn't let it go. But as they pull him up, they actually got the bag back too. Daryl sees that there's some liquor in there, and that pisses him off. Like, Daryl's like, hold on, you just told me somebody I like died because you went on a run to get some liquor, and now you're getting some more liquor? And Daryl was like, he was getting ready to throw it, and as he got ready to throw it, the black guy like put his hand on his gun, was like, don't. And I was like, oh fuck no, you ain't trying to kill my boy Daryl. Like, he threatened like to kill Daryl if he threw the alcohol. And I was like, Michonne, chop his head off. And I was like, oh no. So Daryl walked over to him and like got in his face, took his gun and was like, do something. And he came down, called back. He's like, if any of our people get hurt because of you, I'm gonna fucking stump you in the ground. I'm gonna beat your ass into the ground. And I was like, man, Daryl is such a strong person, because if it was me, I would have fucking tossed him off the roof. Straight up. Straight up. I would have hit him in the throat, tossed him off the roof. But Daryl kind of punked him anyway, because he walked over there, took his gun, and then was like, okay, do something. And he didn't do shit, so. But, oh man, that was crazy. So, beforehand, what I really liked in this episode is they showed them like walking down the hallway, and Daryl and Michonne like work so good together. I fucking loved it. Like Michonne seeing this, Michonne's like walking, and Daryl has his his crossbow over her shoulder, and they both see a walker. So Daryl like raises up, and Michonne like chops the walker's head off, and then like she puts her knife back, and he puts it. I'm like, that's teamwork at its best. So I was really happy about that. But the fucking black guy who like raised, like he was gonna shoot Daryl, I was like, oh, this motherfucker got balls. I was like hoping that Daryl and Michonne like kicked him off the fucking roof, and Tyrese was like, leave him alone, Daryl, the man's made his choice. I say kick him off the fucking, out of the fucking group, man. Straight up, kick him out of the group. That's what I said. So anywho, they got the supplies. It's kind of like on the road trip, every one of them kind of confronted their demons. The black guy, at this time, we all know he's an alcoholic. Daryl, he would never admit it. I forget the name of the kid who died. He didn't like that he died. That's fucking with him. He kind of like, I kind of think like he kind of took him under his wing, like as he was his little brother or something. So it's kind of fucking with him. Michonne told Daryl, she was like, you know what, you're right. I shouldn't leave the prison. You're right. The trail has gone cold for the governor. She's like, I'm not gonna leave the prison no more. And Daryl was like, good. And you're about to see, I hope like Daryl and Michonne like wreck shit, because they're my favorite two characters. Daryl, my boy. Michonne, that's my wife to be. And I love Rick too, but you know, Rick's been on the sideline for so long for this season. He gotta show me something. So it ended with Rick driving back to the prison and looking in the back to make sure nobody was following him, and that's the way it ended. So to recap, Rick kicked somebody out of the group. The black guy act like he was gonna pull his gun on Daryl. Michonne realized that, you know, she was angry and she was chasing the governor and she should stop. And Tyrese realized that everything isn't in, that shit isn't in his control. And I thought it was a good episode, great episode, really pulled on your heartstrings. Like I said, this year I feel like they're going to really go into more character development. And like I said, to answer that one guy's question, I think the governor's going to come back around the 12th episode or towards the final season finale. So that's gonna do it for me, you guys, man. Leave a comment, tell me what y'all think gonna happen. Tell me if you thought that Daryl should have threw his motherfucking, the black guy, off the fucking roof. I think Michonne should have chopped off his head while Daryl threw him off the roof. So, or tell me if you thought Rick was right for kicking what's the name out of the group. You know, if she was in the right or if she was in the wrong. So leave a comment, tell me what you guys think, man, and tune in next week for the Walking Dead review show. I'm signing off, so konnichiwa, bitches.